Ayan, so for the continuation of our discussion regarding this subject, developmental psychology, and for the topic prenatal development. So good morning, I am Mark Denver or Gatchalian, your instructor for this subject. Ayan, so in prenatal development, we have this following outcomes. So we need to explain the main stages of prenatal development. Ano nga ba yung mga dapat nating pinagdadaanan, no? Both normal and abnormal process or stages on our prenatal development. Next is differentiate between the development during the germinal, embryonic, and fetal period. So these are the three main stages in prenatal development: the germinal stage, embryonic stage, and the fetal periods. Next is to examine the risks to prenatal development posed by exposure to teratogens. So, syempre, there are environmental factors as well as psychological, biological, and social factors that are or that can influence our development, no? And exposure to this may lead to several implications, so both negative and positive. So later on, we will delve into each of the dimensions of these teratogens. So next is to explain the potential complications of pregnancy and delivery. So here we will tackle the process or the outcomes of having a pregnancy and what are the possible scenarios in a female delivery if it is in a cesarean or normal delivery. So later on, we will delve into each of those topics. So ayan, take note of these learning outcomes in prenatal development. So here we have the periods of prenatal development. As I've said earlier, we have the germinal period, embryonic period, and the fetal period. So let's talk about each of those. So we have periods of prenatal development. So we have the germinal period. So germinal period extends from week 1 to 2. So etong germinal period, nag-start siya upon the contact or the interaction between the sperm and egg cell. So it's the sperm and ovum, no? Upon the release of the egg cell and then the appearance or the travel of sperm cell in the fallopian tube. So when they meet, doon nag-uumpisa yung ating countdown sa ating germinal period. So, etong germinal period daw, it extends from the fertilization of the ovum and the sperm up to 2 weeks. Ayan. So, we have here that fertilized egg forms a zygote as one cell structure. So, kapag nag-meet daw si sperm cell and si ovum, no, nagkakaroon ng one cell structure. Nagsasama yung kanilang genetic makeup. So, they form what do we call a zygote. So, zygote is the combination of sperm cell and egg cell. So, ano na sila? Na-fertilized. So, the genetic makeup and sex of the baby are set. So, here, nagkakaroon ng meiosis, no, because these are sex cells. So the process of genetic duplication of the chromosomes, no, nagkakaroon ng process wherein yung meiosis nangyayari lamang siya sa mga sex cells and mitosis naman sa mga non-sex cells. Ayan, so dito nagkakaroon ng development yung bata or yung zygote, no. And dito yung process ng paggawa ng kanyang genetic makeup, no. So the basic building blocks of his genetics or yung kanyang genetic makeup. Ayan. So during the first week, the zygote divides and multiple multiplies through the process of mitosis for about 7 to 10 days and has 150 cells, then implants into the uterine. Mitosis, tama ba yung pagkakasabi ko? So, sex cells is mitosis and non-sex cells is meiosis. I'm sorry. So, mitosis siya sa sex cells and meiosis sa non-sex cells. Ayan. So, during the first weeks, divides and multiplies. So, si zygote, nag-multiply daw siya in about 7 to 10 days and nagkakaroon na siya ng 150 cells. So, upon the implants to the uterine lining or uterine wall. So, after 7 to 10 days, nagkakaroon na daw siya ng 150 cells before implanting itself to the uterine lining. So, nag-meet si sperm cell and egg cell doon sa fallopian tube, and then yung mga philia doon sa fallopian tube, tinutulak niya yung zygote papunta ng uterus. No, and then si zygote naman, it will find a place for him to stay. No, naghahanap siya ng lugar doon sa uterus ng babae kung saan siya pwedeng lumaki at mag-develop. And then kapag nakahanap na siya ng place doon, it will implant itself doon sa uterine wall. Tapos nagkakaroon ng parang insertion doon sa uterine wall ng female itong zygote hanggang sa ma-incubate siya or matakpan siya, no, ng uterine wall kasi mai-insert siya sa loob nun eh. Ayan. So yon. So sa germinal period, we have the release of the ovum and the meeting of the sperm cell and ovum sa fallopian tube, and then magta-travel si zygote, no, papuntang uterus, and then it will implant itself in the uterine wall. So ulitin ko lang ha, yung process ng cell duplication or chromosomal duplication ng mga sex cells is what do we call mitosis, and then sa mga non-sex cells naman ay meiosis. Ayan. So next, we will talk about the embryonic period. So, embryonic period starts from 3rd week to 8th week. So, 3rd week to 8th week. Ayan. So, next naman, after germinal period is si embryonic. So, sa germinal period, di ba, 7 to 10 days, mayroon na siyang 150 cells at naka-implant na siya doon sa uterine lining or uterine wall. Ayan. So, next na si embryonic period. So, upon implantation, the multicellular is called embryo. Okay. So, after mag-implant ni zygote doon sa uterine wall, hindi na siya zygote. So, it is now called multicellular cell that is called an embryo. So, kapag nasa loob na si zygote ng kanyang ng uterine wall ng babae, ang tawag na sa kanya is embryo. Very good. So, embryo na ang tawag sa kanya. So, the placenta, a structure connected to the uterus to provide nourishment and oxygen from the mother to the embryo via umbilical cord, is formed. So, ayan. Etong placenta naman, eto yung parang ano siya bag of nutrients, no, na kinakailangan ng embryo for it to develop and to get nourishment. Ayan, so placenta. Tapos, nade-deliver ang mga nourishment na ito, no, with the use of the umbilical cord. So, etong umbilical cord, para siyang hose na kung saan dito nagta-travel yung, for example, oxygen, no, na kailangan ng bata, and then nourishment it needs to develop. Okay? So next, cell continues to differentiate. So cell continues to differentiate, meaning to say, continuous yung pagduduplicate ng mga cells, no, with the process of mitosis. So, nade-develop na dito yung mga heart, for example, and the head, here in the embryonic period. Okay? So, the heart, ayan na nga. So the heart starts beating, organs begin to form and function. So of course, upon the duplication of cells, ang unang nabubuo is the heart, no? So the heart starts beating. So pinakauna daw na organ is your heart, and then nag-uumpisa na siyang mag-beat. Next, organs begin to form and function. So these are the liver, ano pa ba, lungs, the brain. Those organs begin to form, no, in the embryonic period. So next, growth occurs from head to tail. That is what we call cephalocaudal, and from midline outward proximodal. So if the growth starts from the head and then to the tail, no, so from the brain to kasi yung tail dito, before tayo maging fetus, of course, mayroon tayong tail, so hindi pa siya feet, hindi pa siya actual feet, no, so tail. So from head to tail, we have what we call cephalocaudal development. Cephalo means head, and then caudal means tail. So yung development natin is from head to tail, cephalocaudal. Ayan. So next is the midline to outward. So proximo means middle, and then distal means outward. So that is proximo-distal development. So midline to outward. So cephalocaudal is head to tail, and midline to outward, it's proximodal. So about 20% of organisms fail during the embryonic period. So dito daw sa embryonic period, eto na yung mga scenario wherein nagkakaroon ng underdevelopment, hindi kumapit sa matres, something like that. Have you encountered that scenario na sinasabi ng mga parents, no, or mga females or even doctors, no? Ayan na hindi siya kumapit, no, yung baby daw is hindi kumapit sa sinapupunan ng kanyang nanay. So those scenarios depict this 20%. Ayan, kasi minsan hindi nga siya naka-implant ng maigi doon sa uterine wall, kaya may tendency na slip siya doon sa uterine wall and malaglag siya. So those are possible scenarios. And of course, syempre may mga instances na kung saan hindi nagko-continuous develop yung embryo. So hindi siya completely nag-undergo ng process ng mitosis. Parang nag-i-stop yung development, no? O syempre due to genetic factors. Ayan. So those 20% fails during the embryonic period. So next period is we are going to talk about the prenatal development. Ito naman is yung fetal period. So this is from weeks 9 to week 40. So ito ang pinakamahaba, no, si fetal period. So siya ang pinakamahabang length of development. So ayan, we can see here in the picture, mayroon na siyang head, mayroon na siyang eyes and ears. We can see here also na mayroon na siyang hand or fingers na nag-develop, and of course may mga feet. And then may makikita tayong parang violet dyan, no? Yan yung kanyang mga organs. So those are its organ. Ayan. So fetus about 9 weeks. So kapag ang embryo ay dumating na or 9 weeks old na siya doon sa sinapupunan ng kanyang nanay, we will call it now a fetus. So fetus is about 9 weeks, about the size of a kidney bean, and begins to look like a human. So at 9 weeks, ang size daw ng fetus ay parang kidney bean. So alam niyo ba yung kidney bean? Para daw siyang shape na bean. Ayan. So parang ka-shape rin siya ng kidney actually. Ayan. So it will begin to look like a human. So kasi meron na siyang head, no, may arms, ano pa ba, ears. Ayan, nagde-develop na yung mga different parts of its physical body. Ayan. So by 12th week, the fetus has all body parts. So during the 12th week daw, nagkakaroon na tayo ng complete body parts. So during the 12th week, nagkakaroon na tayo ng complete na body parts. Next, by 16 weeks, the fetus is about 4.5 inches long with fully developed fingers and toes and visible fingerprint. So during the 16 weeks, mayroon na daw tayong sukat na 4.5 inches long at nade-develop na rin ang ating mga fingerprint sa ating mga kamay at paa. So in our fingers and toes. So visible na yung ating mga fingerprints during 16th week. Next, organ system continue to develop and rudimentary neurons in the brain are developed by 24 weeks. So nagkakaroon daw ng continuous development of our organ system. Ano nga ba yung mga organ systems natin? Excretory system, no? Yung pag-ihi natin, pagkain natin. Actually, during our fetal period, ang tawag natin dito, di ba, fetal period, no? Yung mga dumi natin, for example, yung mga ihi natin and yung mga waste natin, napupunta din yan sa placenta. However, si placenta mayroon siyang kakayahan na kung saan to disinfect or to use the nutrients na nilabasin mo, and then lahat ng mga negative na dapat na hindi mo ma-intake ay mapupunta naman sa bloodstream ni mother mo. And then, i-deliver niya ito syempre sa excretory organ ni mother. So, yung mga wastes na dapat ilabas ng baby, napupunta pa rin sa mother. And then, yung mother na ngayon ang maglalabas ng mga wastes na yon. So, gets ba? Kasi you are encapsulated doon sa placenta eh. So, meaning to say, lahat ng ng wastes mo, napupunta doon. 'Di ba? Ayan. So, the age of viability is reached about 22 to 26 weeks. Ayan, viability. So, ano nga ba itong age of viability na pwede nating makamit in about 22 to 26 weeks? So, age of viability meaning to say, ito yung age natin kung saan may chance na mag-survive ang isang fetus, no, na mabuhay or fully develop. So, ito yung parang critical period na kung saan it's either maaabot mo yung 22 weeks para magkaroon ka ng age of viability or hindi mo siya naabot and then hindi na siya fully developed. Ayan. So, age of viability is the chance of survival of the fetus during 22 to 26th week. Ayan. So, by the week 37, all of the fetus organ systems are developed enough that it could survive outside the mother's uterus without risks associated with premature birth. So, dito naman, pag nakarating na daw tayo sa week 37, lahat daw ng organ systems ng fetus ay fully developed. And it could survive outside the mother's uterus. So, pwede na daw tayong mabuhay, no, outside the mother's uterus without the risk associated with the premature birth. So, we can have a lesser risk. Pero hindi naman natin sinasabi na absence of risk ha. Kasi meron pa rin talagang risks ng premature birth even though na-reach na natin yung 37th week. Pero most often kasi ng mga fetuses na nag-survive within 37 weeks, they could survive outside the mother's uterus, no, without the risk of having premature birth. Okay? So gaya nga ng sabi natin, no, mayroong mga influences, both environmental, social, physical, cognitive, behavioral risks na pwedeng ma-develop on, before, during, and after the pregnancy. So here are the environmental risks. So the developing child is most at risk for severe problems in the first 3 months. So sabi dito, in the first 3 months daw natin, yun yung tinatawag nating age of risks. No, the first 3 months. O ito yung critical period na sinasabi natin, no? Kasi dito most likely nag-a-appear or nag-uumpisa yung mga possible problems, for example, genetic makeup, no? Improper duplication of cells, no, or stopping of development of the cells, or like failure to develop a specific organ or part of the body. So dito sa first 3 months, ito yung pinaka-risky na oras kung saan nakasalalay, no, dito yung ating overall development or further development as a fetus. Ayan, so first 3 months. Ayan. So, next we have here the teratogens. So, ano nga ba itong teratogens? So, are factors that can contribute to the birth defects, which includes some maternal diseases, drugs, alcohol, and stress, as well as environmental and occupational exposure. So, etong mga teratogens, eto yung mga chemicals, materials, no, or environmental factors that can contribute to the birth defects. So ito yung mga negativities, no, which can include some maternal diseases. So si teratogens, they can cause maternal diseases, no. It can cause harmful effects hindi lang sa mother but as well as sa child, no. So, example of these teratogens are drugs, alcohol, stress, ano pa ba? Environmental risk, at syempre yung occupational exposure. So, for example, ano ba tong mga teratogens? Si mother, buntis, pero nagtatrabaho pala siya sa, ano ba, sa initan, or sa mga lugar na kung saan mayroong chemicals, no, na possible niyang ma-inhale or ma-intake, no. So those are the factors that can contribute to the risk of having a maternal diseases. So these are called teratogens. Isa pa, occupational exposure, pwede rin rito yung trabaho ng father, no, kasi may factor here in our prenatal development na if our parents, no, experience stress, no, hindi lang yung natural stress but you know, abnormal stress or distressful para sa kanila, it could also affect, no, yung development ng fetus or yung quality ng kanilang cells or the kanilang sex cells. For example, yung sperm and ovum, naapektuhan yung quality ng mga ito due to the environmental factors or stress factors, those things, no. So we have here the examples of teratogens. We have alcohol. So consumption, particularly during the second month of prenatal development, may lead to neurocognitive and behavioral difficulties that can last a lifetime and can frequently result in a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder or FASD. So, I am discussing you this PowerPoint, but make sure to read also our reference books, okay? Kasi this is summarized, no? I hope you can also take your time to read your books kasi doon talaga yung detailed na information about all of these diseases and yung mga researches, as well as yung mga iba pang information, no, that are not being mentioned here, no. Hindi ibig sabihin na hindi ko na mention ay hindi ko na naman isasama sa mga quizzes or exams, no. Syempre hindi naman tayo dito nag-i-spoon feed. I also expect you to read and study on your own. Marami naman tayong pwedeng gamiting materials, no, aside from you have your books for your references. We also have YouTube, Facebook, and other learning platforms, no, for you to verify, add information regarding our topic. So syempre hindi naman ako 100% na very alam mo yun, perfect when it comes to teaching and of course learning, but I'm sure you can be able to close these gaps, no. That's why I am encouraging you to use those platforms in order for you to, of course, improve your learning, improve yourself, and in the end, improve your academic performance. Okay? So, ayan. Alcohol consumption, particularly during the second month of prenatal development, may lead to neurocognitive and behavioral difficulties that can last a lifetime. So, si alcohol, if si mother niyo daw is nagtitake ng alcohol during her pregnancy, it may lead to neurocognitive difficulties. Ano nga ba yung mga neurocognitive? So, mga neurons like sensation, no, hindi na tayo nakakapag-sense ng tama, neurocognitive, kasama dito yung mga malfunctions in brain, ano pa ba? Neurocognitive, anything that involves our neurons and cognition. So, how we think, perceive, feel, no? Ayan. So, and of course, behavioral difficulties. Siyempre, yung perception mo naapektuhan, yung mga senses mo, therefore, yung behavior mo din naiiba, no, nagkakaroon ng difficulties. Ayan. At hindi lang siya pang mabilisang epekto. It can last a lifetime, no? At it frequently result in a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. So, more information about the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder can be seen on your reference book, as well as kung ano ba yung mga physical features nitong fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, ano ba yung mga behavioral concerns, neurocognitive concerns is mentioned on your reference book. Okay? So next we have tobacco. So nicotine levels travel through the placenta to the fetus and has been associated with low birth rate, placenta previa, birth defects, preterm delivery, fetal growth restriction, sudden infant death syndrome. Ayan. Ayan, tobacco. Ito naman, yung mga smokers, no? Or hindi lang mga smokers actually, pwede rin itong makuha sa mga second-hand smokers or smoke. Yung mga mother na exposed sa, for example, naninigarilyo yung kanilang asawa or anyone in their kamag-anak, and then nasa iisang bahay lang sila, no? And then lagi niyang nasisinghot yung alam mo yung binubugang usok ng mga nag-smoke. Ayun. So, kapag nalanghap yun ng mother, that is what we call, or anyone, that is what we call second-hand smoke. Alam niyo ba na mas delikado pa yung second-hand smoke? Kasi talagang yun nai-inhale mo lahat ng chemicals eh. 'Di ba? Lahat 'yon nai-intake mo, no, napupunta sa lungs mo. Buti pa yung mga smokers mismo kasi binubuga nila yung usok, no? So hindi 'yun na naiiwan sa kanilang lungs or sa kanilang organ. Instead na ilalabas nila ito. However, sa mga second-hand smokers, talagang pag sininghot mo siya, wala ka namang ibubuga na usok, 'di ba? So nagre-remain siya doon sa lungs ng kung sino man ang nakasinghot nun. So, etong nicotine, pwede siyang mag-result in low birth rate. So ano bang low birth rate? Meaning to say, if nanganak ka na ng isang beses, parang bumababa na yung chance mo, no, because of this nicotine to have another pregnancy. So bumababa yung chance mo na magbuntis ulit. Ayan, so low birth rate. Next, we have possible effect of tobacco or smoking, placenta previa. So eto si placenta previa, yung placenta is napupunta doon sa lower part ng cervix and then nahaharangan yung fetus, no? So kapag manganganak ang isang babae, 'di ba dapat ang mauuna is ang suggested or pinakamagandang position ng baby is mauuna yung ulo. However, dito sa placenta previa, nahaharangan ng placenta yung labasan ng baby. So, mas nauuna pa si placenta, meaning to say, it is impossible or it is not advised for you to to have a normal delivery. Kasi nahaharangan nga ng placenta yung labasan ng fetus. So, ang tendency nito magkakaroon ng cesarean method, no? Ito yung pag-open up sa abdominal or upper part of the sex organ ng mga babae para mailabas yung fetus. Okay, so placenta previa, nahaharangan yung labasan ng fetus. So, it will result in a cesarean method, or pag minsan kasi pag nasasarahan talaga, may tendency na, of course, magkaroon ng complications dun sa birth. Kasi may mga babae na hindi nila kayang mag cesarean section because maybe they will lose a lot of blood, no, and other factors. So it can definitely have a negative impact, no, on the development and the delivery of the fetus. So next is birth defects. Ano pa ba? Preterm delivery. So itong preterm delivery, ito yung hindi niya pa kabuwanan, pero na agad, pumutok na yung kanyang fluid, no? So may tendency na kailangan na siyang paanakin kahit na hindi pa niya kabuwanan. Ayan, preterm delivery. Nauuna siyang mag-deliver doon sa kanyang nakadakdang panahon kung kailan dapat siya manganganak. Fetal growth restriction. So fetal growth restriction, ito naman is hindi na nagde-develop, hindi na nagfo-fully develop yung growth, no, ng fetus. And of course, sudden infant death syndrome. Itong sudden infant death syndrome, actually wala pang scientific explanation on how this happens, pero kasi may mga chances or mas mataas ang chance na mamatay yung bata without a specific reason kapag nagkakaroon ng nicotine exposure. Ayun. So, namamatay bigla yung infant. And kahit na walang specific factor, ayan, sudden infant death. No scientific explanation, basta namatay na lang siya. Ganun. So next, drugs. If prescription medication is required, the lowest possible dose should be used. Illicit drugs can cause low birth weight, withdrawal symptoms, birth defects, or learning and behavioral problems. So illicit drugs, ito yung mga pinagbabawal na gamot, no, or addictive drugs. Kasi may mga hindi naman pinagbabawal na gamot pero nakaka-addict siya, no, kapag ini-intake mo siya lagi. Ayan. So if prescription medication is required, sabi dito, syempre may mga tendency or scenario na kung saan mayroon ng tinitake yung mother before pa siya magbuntis, hindi ba? So If possible daw na kung for example, ano pa yung mga gamot na iniinom? May sakit yung mother na parang chronic na kailangan niyang uminom ng gamot, no, maintenance for example, kailangan yung iti-take niyang gamot is the lowest possible dose na pwede niyang matake, no. Kasi kapag tinake niya yun na as a whole, may tendency na yun nga magkaroon ng negative effects, no, sa development ng fetus. Next naman is illicit drugs, low birth weight, withdrawal, birth defects, or learning and behavior. So yung mga pinagbabawal na gamot, of course, they can cause low birth weight. Ibig sabihin, magaan siya, no? Hindi normal yung kanyang timbang, no? Mas mababa sa inaasahan na timbang ng usual or normal na fetus. Next is withdrawal symptoms. So, etong withdrawal symptoms, eto yung kapag tinigil mo yung isang chemical na iniinom mo, may tendency na hanap-hanapin siya ng body mo, and then magkakaroon ng mas negative effect sa'yo, no? Withdrawal, kasi hinahanap-hanap na siya ng katawan mo. Ayan, so etong mga withdrawal symptoms usually can cause mental or behavioral symptoms or effects, I should say. Ayan. So, withdrawal symptoms. Parang hinahanap-hanap na siya. No, tapos parang nagkakasakit ka na whenever na hindi mo tinitake yung matagal mo nang tinitake. Ganun, hinahanap-hanap na siya ng system mo. Kasi nasanay na siya na ini-intake mo yung mga yun. So, hinahanap, tendency kapag in-stop mo siya, hahanapin siya ng katawan mo, and then, parang it will do everything, no, just for you to take it again. Ayun. So, that's how you become an addictive. That's how you have an addictive behavior. Next is birth defects. So yan, birth defects or learning and behavioral problems. So sa learning behavioral problems, this can include dyscalculia, dysgraphia, no? Ano pa ba? Yung mga learning disorders, no? Hindi makapagsalita, makapagsulat, ano pa ba? Makapagbilang, ayon. So learning behaviors or late yung kanyang learning development, hindi siya nakakasabay sa mga dapat na kaidaran niya, no? Ganito na yung level of intelligence or IQ ng mga, or mental, tama ba? Mental age ng mga kaidaran niya, pero siya ganito pa din, no? So nahuhuli siya, delayed. Ayan. Or behavioral problems as well. Next, we have environmental chemicals. So can include exposure to wide array of agents including pollution, organic mercury compounds, herbicides, and industrial solvents. So gaya nga ng sabi ko, no, if the mother is working in an exposed area of chemicals, as well as the father, di ba sabi ko, pati tatay. Ayan, so this could have also a negative effect on the development of the fetus. So ano nga ba yung example ng environmental chemical? So we have pollution. So sa pollution pa lang, napakarami ng parang areas or, you know, variation of pollution, air pollution, water pollution, no, noise pollution, napakarami. Organic mercury compounds, of course, these chemicals are very dangerous, especially if we had contact to, no, herbicides, yung mga ginagamit sa mga gulay, prutas o mga halaman na pampalis ng mga insekto. And then ang tendency kasi pag ginagamit ito ng mga farmers, no, nag-i-stay siya doon sa mga plants. So for example, yung mga mga dahon-dahon, no, pag nakain yun ng, syempre yung mga nanay, they prefer gulay, prutas. Pero kasi yung mga yun, ginagamitan ng herbicide. So, may tendency na ma-intake nila yung mga in-spray doon na mga chemicals. no? At saka hindi na siya natural, 'di ba? Herbicides is negative to the health of both the mother of, or generally kahit sino naman na makapag-intake nun ng mga herbicides is negative kasi hindi naman siya kailangan ng ating body. And so asa na tayo, we are now on the herbicide. Ayan, so yung mga chemicals na nai-intake or na-absorb or nakaka-come in contact ng ating mga parents, it can have a negative impact or negative outcomes sa development ng fetus. Next are the sexually transmitted infections, so can complicate pregnancy and may have serious effects on both the mother and the developing baby. So itong mga sexually transmitted infections such as HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, those infections, no, of course can complicate the baby's pregnancy. For example, pwede niya itong tawag dito, mapasa sa kanya, mapasa sa fetus, no, or ano pa ba, pwedeng mapasa sa fetus. Next is maternal diseases. Maternal illness increase the chance that a baby will be born with a defect or have a chronic health problem. So maternal diseases, ito yung gaya ng sabi ko kanina, if may existing na sakit na siya before pa siya magbuntis, no, magkakaroon ng negative impact or pwede rin uting mapasa doon sa fetus. Next, we have maternal stress. Because of a linked blood supply between mothers and the fetus, stress can leave lasting effects on the developing fetus. So mother and the fetus is connected daw. So in case nakakaranas ng stress si mother, no, natatransfer ito sa baby. Ayan. So there are several considerations in determining the type and amount of damage that might result from exposure to a teratogen. So yung exposure daw natin sa teratogen, may mga several considerations pa tayo na dapat i-take note or i-take into consideration in determining the type, kung ano nga ba yung magiging characteristic or the amount, kung gaano kadami yung magiging damage or negative outcome doon sa fetus. So we have timing of exposure. If a substance is introduced during a particular bodily structure, critical period of development, damage may be greater. So etong timing of exposure, so during our development, kailan siya na-expose dun sa mga teratogens na yon? So for example, eto ba ay from the germinal stage na kung saan nagde-develop pa lang or nag-meet pa lang si sperm cell at egg cell, sa embryonic stage na kung saan dumikit na siya sa uterine wall, or sa fetal stage na kung saan nagde-develop na yung mga bodily organs and bodily structures natin. So that is what you call the timing of exposure. So kailan siya na-expose, no? It can determine what type or how much damage that it might result for the development of the fetus. Next is the amount of exposure. So some substances are not harmful unless the amounts reach at a certain level. So itong amount of exposure naman, kasi may mga chemicals tayo na pwede naman, no, in moderation. Pero kasi kapag nagkaroon na ng parang sumobra, no, yun lang nagkakaroon ng negative implication. So ayun, so kapag nagkaroon ng parang overdosage or overexposure sa mga teratogens, naapektuhan yung development ng fetus. Next is genetics. Genetic makeup plays a role in the impact a particular teratogen might have on a child. So genetics, ito yung mga sometimes we can control this genetic mga instances, no. For example, doon sa mitosis, hindi tama yung na-duplicate na mga chromosomes, no, or hindi siya nag-continue na mag-develop, yun, mga genetic examples. So next, being a male or female. So males are more likely to experience damage due to teratogens than female. So, ang sinasabi dito na male or female is the fetus itself. No, kasi yung mga male na fetuses, they are prone to experience damages. Ayan, kasi sabi nila, yung mga male fetuses, ang development nila is mas mahaba. No, mas matagal silang mag-mature compared sa development ng mga female. So, ayun na nga, kapag lalaki ka, no, napakarami mong pwedeng pagdaanan during your development, prenatal development. So, doon pa lang, yung development mo is mabagal. So, mas nagkakaroon ng chance na magkaroon ng mga negative outcome sa iyong development. However, si female naman, mas mabilis yung kanyang development. So, mas naiiwasan niya yung mga negative implications ng teratogens. And so we have here different complications of pregnancy and delivery. Minor side effects of pregnancy are potentially very uncomfortable and include nausea. So etong mga minor side effects, ito yung mga usual na reklamo ng ating mga nanay, no? Pag or yung mga nararamdaman nila during their pregnancy, no? If you observe mga pregnant women, no, ito yung mga normal at minor side effects na nararamdaman nila. Nausea, no, nahihilo, heartburn, gas, hemorrhoids, backache, leg cramps, insomnia, constipation, shortness of breath, or varicose veins. So these are the minor side effects. However, we also have the major complications that can pose health risk to the mother and the child. Often it's require a special care. So we have gestational diabetes. So etong gestational diabetes, may diabetes yung nanay, then nagpapagatas siya, so may chance na matransfer doon sa fetus. Next is hyperemesis gravidarum, preeclampsia, deep vein thrombosis, increased susceptibility sa infection, peripartum cardiomyopathy. So search na lang, so anong mga diseases yan, no? So let's talk about maternal mortality. About 830 women die from preventable pregnancy or childbirth related complications around the world every day. So yan, almost all maternal death 99 occurs in developing countries. The lifetime risk of maternal death in high income countries is 1 in 3,300. A pregnancy-related death is the death of a woman while pregnant or within 1 year of the end of pregnancy, regardless of outcome, duration, or site of pregnancy from any cause related to aggravated by the pregnancy or its management. So, kasama ditong maternal mortality, yung mga nag-anak na within the 1 year end of the pregnancy. So, kasama pa rin sila sa pregnancy-related death. Top cause of pregnancy-related death includes cardiovascular disease, sakit sa puso, no, yun, non-cardiovascular disease, and infection or sepsis. Spontaneous abortion, miscarriage, is experienced in approximately 20 to 40% of undiagnosed pregnancies and in 10% diagnosed pregnancies, and typically occurs before 12th week of pregnancy. So, yun, you read those materials. So, yan, you can have or you can screenshot this PowerPoint presentation, but I am not giving a copy to you. So it's either you screenshot, you take note, no, so that you can have your reviewer. So practice questions. What is the number one cause of pregnancy-related death in United States? So is it hemorrhage, sepsis, preeclampsia, or cardiovascular disease? Ayan, so let's have this activity, prenatal screening. So this is for your semi-final activity, no? You will write this in yellow paper. Written siya ha, written. So you will answer these two questions. Hindi na siya as a group, no? So get into groups and have someone in charge of writing down main discussion of points question. So we will make it individual. So what are the pros and cons of receiving prenatal screening tests, and why might some mothers decide not to have these tests? Once you have several discussion points, create your argument either as a group present. So, I would like you to do this class activity in a yellow paper, individual. Ayan. So, answer the following. What are the pros and cons receiving prenatal screening test? Why might some mothers decide not to have this test? So, you will pass this. I will have a deadline on our GC. So, ayan, that's it for our discussion on the prenatal development. Next, we will tackle the birth and delivery. So, thank you. This has been Mark Denver Argachal Gardner, instructor for developmental psychology. Thank you. Hanggang sa muli. Paalam.